Evening all, welcome to a very dark, very damp, and very windy Evesham. Blown an absolute hula here, miserable in the UK. I thought tonight would do something different and would go somewhere warmer. Um, Mark, is it any warmer where you are, and where are you?
Well, I'm speaking to you from sunny Cape Town, South Africa.
Okay,
Um, it's very warm.
it's not. That's not making my evening any better because it's absolutely miserable here.
Sorry about that, John.
So we're going to be talking about Locost and Ron Champion possibly and Haynes as well because your kit car. Tell us a little bit about your kit car that you bought. You bought it as you bought the chassis, I think, and then you've kept carried
Yeah,
on and
yeah,
go for it.
that's
Tell us a
right.
bit about it. Tell us a bit about it.
So what happened? I almost want to say I bought a Lotus by chance, actually by coincidence, because I was looking for a Kent motor and gearbox to put in a Mark One two-door Escort that I had bought, which had a 3-liter motor in it.
Yeah, yeah.
And I saw somebody advertising a Kent motor and gearbox. And I looked at pictures and I thought, that's strange. It looks like it's in some sort of a frame. Um, I'm not sure what it is because engines at the front, I don't know. So anyway, I spoke to the guy and it turned out it was a Lotus 7 kit type thing that he had bought as an incomplete project and never got around to finishing. Ended up buying a complete car and so was selling this one off.
Okay.
And I ended up buying it from him. Didn't end up using the Kent motor or gearbox. And that's how I ended up having a Lotus 7. It wasn't something that I set out to do, actually.
You were just looking for an engine and came across
Yeah,
the chassis came with it almost.
it did indeed.
So what are your plans for the chassis now? Just,
Well, I've built the car over a couple of years.
yeah, okay,
Um, to to a complete car, it's got a Toyota dual beams 2-liter 16 valve motor. It
okay.
pushes out 160 kilowatts. I think it's about 210 or 215 horsepower
That's handy.
and
Yeah, that's going to go.
250 newtons. It
Yeah,
does.
yeah,
It's rapid. It's seriously fast.
yeah, yeah.
It weighs under 600 kilos as well, so that
Brilliant.
helps you.
This, yeah, as we always say, and Colin Chapman said, add lightness. You know, anything under anything around the 600, 500, 400. Well, you won't get under 400 kilos, but anything around that kind of weight, even with 130 horsepower in it, it's going to go. But yours with that in it, it's going to be absolute flying.
It does. It's nice, and because it's normally aspirated rather than turbocharged, it's linear power. So it's
Yeah.
very. It's, I wouldn't say it's docile. That would be that would be not true. But it's a lot easier to control than a turbocharged car with the same
Yes.
amount of power.
Yeah. This is we've looked at people with turbos and superchargers. Okay, but yeah, turbo. You go boom, it's off because you get into that
Yeah.
boost pressure and you're off, and you've got to know when that's coming in. Um, and is this
Yeah.
your first rear wheel? We often talk about this as well. Is this your first rear wheel drive car as well?
No, John, I've raced pretty extensively. I've raced Formula Ford, the
Oh, okay.
1600 Formula Ford with
Single
Kent motors.
single
Yeah,
seater, yeah.
so I've done that on a national basis. I've raced another rear-wheel drive class on slicks that we have locally called Formula Supercars with an Opel 2-liter 8-valve old Opel motor. So I've got a bit of experience with rear-wheel drive, and I've had several fairly, like M3 E36 and E34 M5 and the fabled 333i BMW
Nice.
E30. So
Yeah,
I've had a fair amount of fairly powerful rear-wheel drive saloons as well.
yeah. 'Cause this is what I say to people that when they go out and buy a Lotus 7 or whatever, and they've only ever driven front wheel drive cars, and it is completely different. It will if you know it if you provoke it. It will catch you out, especially around roundabouts and things like you. The back end will go, even with a limited slip diff. You've got to treat them with respect. I think is probably that's my
Absolutely.
answer. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. It's not a car for a novice to try and drive quickly. It won't work.
No,
You're going to crash.
yeah. I ran mine down Santa Pod, and I ran it on cold tires. And I mean, to be fair, the car's very well built, and I ran it on cold tires for the first couple of laps down the quarter mile, and it just wheel span all the way up. But it carried on dead straight. There was a little. I always remember the first run. This is the first time I've ever done it. I didn't realise it was a rubber track. I could smell burning rubber, and I thought that's a bit odd. And I could just feel the back end just shimmying. It wasn't going, tail fishing or whatever. It would just get a little shimmy in the back end. You could just feel it underneath you. But I just concentrate on the far end, and yeah, I had an absolute brilliant laugh. But yeah, rear wheel drive around corners, you've got to know what you're doing. Santa Pot, and what a brilliant laugh. Have you ever done quarter mile racing or drag strip racing, or mainly circuit racing? I guess.
I've done circuit racing.
Yeah.
Years ago, I took my Formula 4 down the drag strip. I think I did a 13-second or something, but those things run skinny little road tires, and it was an unprepared surface. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind taking my 7 down the strip.
Yeah.
It's pretty quick. And like you say, if I'm alone in the car, my car runs a 6-speed gearbox, but I don't use first gear, so I only use second to sixth, and it spins in second, third, and fourth gear
Yeah.
on the road. So on a strip, it will probably get a bit more traction.
Yeah, definitely, and especially on a prepared. I didn't know anything about drag racing until, as I say, I went to Santa Pod for my first time, and the marshals. It's probably the same with your racing. The marshals were so helpful. I didn't even realise it was a rubber track, and I didn't realise they put glue at the start, and they gave me a lot of advice on tyre pressures, dropping them down, and basically they just said, drive it like you stole it off the start line. But yeah, I had
Definitely.
absolutely had a brilliant laugh. So tell us more about your car. You inherited, well, you bought the engine or bought it for the engine, and then you've inherited the chassis. But was it a Ron Champion? You were talking about it. Was it a Ron Champion or a Haynes chassis or?
John, I honestly wouldn't know the difference. I tell you what, it's a very strongly built chassis.
Yeah.
Compared to some that I've seen, it's got a lot of reinforcing, some of which we had to actually cut out to fit the bigger motor and
Yeah.
gearbox. But it's very strongly built. Whoever designed it, or whichever design it is, it's nicely designed, very strong. And that's why I
Yeah.
wasn't worried to put something with a lot more power than a Kent because of the way it was designed and built. It's
Brilliant.
definitely, it holds up well. Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. As you say, you just made modifications just to get the engine in. Did you made any modifications to the footwell, or for the pedal
The
arrangement?
footwell was there. There was no pedal arrangement, so we built a pedal box. I should figure out how to send you pictures of what I started with and how we went through the build. It's pretty interesting, but a lot of the suspension was there, but we had to do things like move the steering rack to the right position so we didn't have bump steer and things like
Yeah.
that, because
Yes.
some of that whoever had built it hadn't taken into account. And as you know, those are the things that make a difference between a car that's nice to drive and a car that's trying to kill you all the time.
Well, exactly.
And it makes a big difference.
Yeah, if you don't, we had that when we got our car, and the guy had it before. I took it out on the road, and it was all over the place.
Yeah.
And I got it back. I said, "There's something not right," because the front end it was tramlining and weaving, and very vague on the front end. And we got it back, and I checked the tyre pressures. It was up at like 34 pounds per square inch on the front tyres. I said, "Well, that's ridiculous." We dropped it down to. We've been as low as 12 psi now, but we dropped it down to eventually 18 psi, and that made one hell of a difference on the front end. It's now a lot more precise. You know what it's doing. You're not constantly correcting it. We have got a quick steering rack as well, so slightest little turn of the steering wheel. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah.
I know exactly what you mean. I also first ran, I'm not sure on PSI, it's what, 14.7 to a bar. So we were running about 1.8 bar. And a friend of mine who knows these cars said, no, you can run them like down to 0.8 of a bar, which is also probably about 12 PSI. What a difference.
Yes.
Made a huge difference. And the other thing that I found that makes a massive difference is I had the damping on my shocks turned all the way up, almost maximum.
Okay, is that on the
off?
Is that on the preload?
Mine have only got mine. They only have a single. They only have a single adjustment. They spec shocks. They actually the shocks are from 1999, so that's how old the chassis is. Around there because the shocks were unused but old, so they were old Specs Gold or whatever they were, and they've only got one adjustment, which is for, I presume, damping, compression or rebound, not separate on these ones. So I just know if you turn it in, they get a lot stiffer. And it makes a huge difference to, especially on a bumpy road. It's terrible with the damping turned right up, but on the track, it makes a big difference too. It works well.
Yeah. Because this is what's making people. I'm no racer, by the way, but from what I've read up, the adjusting the preload and then you damping, that can affect how the car over and understeers, especially on the front end. The back end, not so much. That's the back end. Is down to driving style. If you like the back end to come out a little bit, leave it. But yeah, definitely on the front end, adjusting the preload and the rebound can make one hell of a difference on turning. Ours has got the click adapters at the bottom, so you can adjust it. So you wind the collar up, get your front wishbones level. That's about right. And then you can adjust the dampers at the bottom. As I say, I'm no racer. It's set how I like it. The car feels great. It goes in a straight line. It doesn't weave. You could let go of the steering wheel. It will just carry on. Whereas before, with the tyre pressures and God knows what, it was kind of like weaving a little bit, and you were constantly on it, trying to get it just to drive straight, which is, you don't want to be doing that.
No, the setup of the car is very important. I actually haven't done a setup on mine since we built it. So we adjusted the ride height as best we could, and get the front wishbones level. My front shocks are probably a little bit long. I would like to go a bit lower in the front if I could, but I actually can't. I've even taken the bump stops out on the shocks to have a bit of travel at least. But the caster and camber, caster feels okay, but the camber and the toe on the front is definitely not set. The camber is not bad, but I think the toe is out because it's a bit it's just not, you can feel it's not 100% right.
Not quite right.
So I still need to do that.
Yeah, this is what I tell people about. It's an old school, I wouldn't say a trick. If you're trying to set up a car, even regards as tyre pressures, if you're wondering about tyre pressures, because it depends on your engine. We're a bike engine, so we're down at I think, as I say, we're down at 18 psi. The car comes in at 490 kilos. If you've got a heavier car at the front or the rear, a lot of people, you can draw a chalk line across the back of the wheels and the front wheels. Just push it down the road and then just see where the chalk line has been wearing. If it's wearing on the outside, but not the inside of the tyre, you know that tyre's underinflated. If it's the other way round, if it's wearing
in the middle,
if it's wearing on the outside but not the inside, you know it's underinflated. So it's not scientific. And on a track you need a tyre temperature monitor, but it will get you in the right ballpark for your tyre pressures for the weight of your car. Obviously, put a weight in for a driver, 60, 70 kilos, whatever. It will get you in the right ballpark. That's what we found.
Yeah, that is fair. But things like sitting your toe on the front is not too difficult to do. You can actually put up some fishing line around the car and square it off and just measure.
Line. Yeah, we've got a
guy we used to do with the single seaters. Yeah, that's how we used to set them up for the toe.
I know a couple of guys that do it that way. They call it string lining. There's a guy just down the road in Stratford. It is an old school way of doing it, but it is so accurate as well. And you can get all these laser guided stuff, and you spend thousands on it. You can do, as you say, just with fishing line or string line, you can set it really, really accurately.
The problem with these laser machines on the alignment, you need to have a base setting. They can't just start from nothing. So they tell you, well, we don't have a Lotus 7 on our system, and and so they can't do anything with it. Unfortunately, otherwise I would have just gone that route. It'd be a lot quicker. But it's a problem for a car like mine. They don't seem to be able to accommodate it. And if you go to the motorsport guys to do it, they charge you. Believe me.
Money. Pay. And I mean, the other thing as well with the laser alignment stuff, half the stuff you can't even get it to fit your wheel. The 7's quite low, depending on the wheels and so on. Half the equipment won't fit anyway. So, recommend this string lining method, and it is really accurate.
It is. Obviously, you still need a camber gauge to set the camber, but that's not a problem.
Yeah,
it's easy enough.
And we had yours corner weighted. I know we've had ours done. And I'm not a race driver. I never will be. I'm not that talented. Did it make a difference to me? I don't know, but it did feel a little bit different. Just having it corner weighted. Is that something
corner weighting it is good. We had it on 4 scales to actually just to check the weight, not to set it up.
Yeah. Oh, you're back again. Yeah, just froze a little bit there. I don't know. Yeah. It may well be my end. I don't know yet until I've checked the video downloads. We're talking about corner weighting, and it's absolutely well worthwhile. Rolling road tune as well. Have you done any of that? Yes. This is something I always say to people.
It was more out of city because it's running a management system. So it had to be tuned on a rolling road. Yeah. But it makes a lot of difference. It's something you should definitely do.
Yeah, this is what I say to everybody, because with a kit car, you're using I wouldn't say an unknown engine, but you're using a different engine. It's going to have a different exhaust. It's probably going to have different airbox. Ours with a bike engine, it's not running the standard R1 airbox. It's now under pipe across air filter, running Power Commander 3, not the standard. So that's taken over from the standard bike ECU. And the best thing you can do, and it's money well spent, is get it rolling road tuned. You're going to get the best out of the engine, and you also know it's not going to be running either rich or the worst thing rich is bad, but if you've got an engine that's running lean, that's going to cause you serious
No.
problems, and it's going to go bang.
Yeah. So and the other thing is that the bike engine is tuned to run running a bike that's got maybe 200 kilos
Yeah,
versus your car that's 490. So you want the torque
490,
to be a bit different.
yeah,
You want the tuning to be a bit different than you would on a bike as well. I bought a 7. I bought a 7 a while ago that had an R1. I think it was a 2005 R1 setup in it.
That's on
And
carbs. Was that on carbs? Carburetors.
no, fuel injected.
Fuel injector.
Fuel
Must have been
injected.
one of the first Mikuni or whatever they call it injectors. Yeah.
Yeah, and I bought it because I picked it up for a steal, and it wasn't completed. It needed a gear mechanism, gear linkage fitted, and a couple of other small things. But it wasn't road legal. It wasn't road registered.
Yeah.
Although I did test it on the road briefly, it was lovely. It really was. It had proper brakes. It was anyway. Someone offered me a lot of money for it, so I sold it. And also, I wasn't. It's not ideal for me for something to use on the road. If I was going to use it for track only, it would be lovely.
Definitely bike
It's
engine.
really, it's super. I love the revs and the sequential shift and things. That's the way to go for a track car, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah. What we found is, not we found it, everybody finds is with the bike engine, you've got a very long first gear. So if you set off in first, it takes quite a long while for those revs to build up until you're into the power band. But after that, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth, and you do get the sequential gearbox, obviously, that came with the bike engine because that's part of the gearbox. It's just boom, 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 and it just goes.
Keeps pulling.
Yeah, keeps pulling. And this is what we found after half an hour's rolling road tunes. You get a much flatter torque curve, but more importantly, a much flatter power curve. So it just, even up to about 6,000, 7,000 hours begins to wail. And then you get about 6,000, you get a shove in your back, and it just goes. And then keep it in the power band, and it just keeps going and going. And it absolutely pulls like a train. There's no stuttering, there's no hesitation, there's no bogging down. It just absolutely goes. And this is absolutely, and why you've also said, absolutely the best thing you ever did is get it on a rolling road.
Yeah, the tune is critical on that, especially with the bike motor because of the high revs.
Yes, yeah. So is your car anywhere near so we can have a quick look? I don't know if the internet's going to drop out for you, but we can. If you want to go
we can definitely try, John.
Yeah, let's have a go. We'll edit it down anyway, so don't worry if it drops out.
No problem. Are you still with me, John?
I'm still with you. The weather looks fantastic. It's miserable here. I'm so jealous.
Look at the weather.
No, don't. If you can see, you dropped out a bit there, but carry on.
I think that's a bridge too far, John, for the Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Yeah. No, you're back in again. You're back in again.
So. I know, but I'm inside again.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think your Wi-Fi is a bit limited outside. Don't show me the outside again. It looks far too sunny. It's dark and miserable here. Oh, my heating is on.
Oh no, I'm sweating actually. That's how warm it is.
I've got a jumper on. So what plans have you got for the car now? Or I mean, we always say that a kit car is never finished. I mean, you bought this kit car by accident. So what plans have you got for it now? What more racing or?
No, John. At the moment, I've actually got the car up for sale.
Okay.
Work-wise, it's been a bit quiet, and so need to get a bit of cash in. So if it sells, it sells. Work is looking a bit better for next year, so we should be back on track next year again. But
Yeah.
I don't want to sell it, but at this stage, I sort of need to get some funds in.
Yeah.
So if some of the other stuff sells instead, then maybe we keep the car. Otherwise, we'll build something else. It's also it's only a car.
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't get attached to
yeah.
them.
Yeah. Well, exactly. Yeah. And yeah. I mean, for you, you went out to buy an engine, and then you came back with a car, and now you put another engine in it and built it. So yeah, it as you say, it's just a car, and it's just what you want to do with it, and just build your dream, really.
Yeah. So if I do end up keeping it, I would I would say there's not much I would change on it. I would maybe do a little aero screen because my car doesn't have a screen at all. Um,
Okay.
and so I either drive with goggles or with a helmet
Yeah,
um,
yeah,
on the
we've got
road.
a yeah, we've got a like a carbon fly screen, no
Yes.
windscreen, no nothing. And the first time I went out with it started drizzling, but bit of fine rain. I couldn't see what I was doing. I was only doing about 40 miles an hour. I couldn't see what I was doing or where I was going. So we went back to the house, and we ride motorbikes anyway.
Yeah.
Put our helmets on, and we just went out again. But yeah, we always now ride with bike helmets on, because it's once you're up about 40 mile an hour, the wind effect, it does send the airflow over your head. But if it starts drizzling, it'll come in round the side, and it's can be a bit of a nightmare. Are you into your bikes? Have you ever had bikes in your past,
I've
or
yeah. I had 11 bikes at one stage, but I don't have at the moment.
yeah,
Um, my last one was a Triumph Tiger 1050. That was a lovely bike.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, I've had super bikes and all kinds of off-road bikes, um, and road bikes, but no bikes at the moment. The toy list is low at the moment.
And what does your wife think about all of this? I mean, we've had stories where people just turn up and a car's being dropped off on the drive, and the wife knows nothing about it. We were speaking to a guy in, I think he was in either Sweden or Norway, a serial bike collector, and he had an aeroplane turn up on his drive, and he hid it round the back, right, in the vegetable plot, so his wife wouldn't know about it. And it's just, I mean, yeah, just some of the stories that come out. I mean, I don't hide anything. Do you know what I mean? It's whatever.
No,
But
I also find it easier to to deal with beforehand.
yeah,
So the car, I built it for myself for my 50th birthday present to myself.
okay,
Um, and my wife loves going in the car, actually. She really enjoys it. So
brilliant,
so that's a
brilliant.
good thing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
She likes
Excellent.
going on bikes. She likes going on bikes too, which is a plus.
That's good as well. Yeah, I mean, my ex would never go. She'd never go on the back of the bike with me. Whether that was her compliment to me on my driving skills, I've no idea. Um, never went in the seven either, which is now why I'm now divorced.
I was going to say, you said X, so there's still hope.
No, not now. I like I like my car. I can spend whatever I want to do on car parts or whatever, and do whatever I want to do. But yeah, no, I love the whole seven movement. We've done some massive interviews as well with Ron Champion, and how we started the low cost, what we call a movement. Um,
It
how,
is
how did
really
you
a
on?
movement.
Yeah,
And I found that was a big factor in me getting the car built, um, because there's a guy who you probably know, Nigel Bates, um,
yes,
from
yeah,
Somerset West, and
yeah,
Nigel is like, even though at the moment he doesn't have a seven at all, he's had quite a few, and he is he's a top class guy. He gets people involved in sevens, and he because he knows all the guys, he's able to point you in the right direction for whatever you need, and
Yes.
it made
Yeah.
a huge difference. You know,
Yeah.
body molds and all kinds of things that you'd never be able to find otherwise.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's your go-to guy for that.
It can
He's got all the
yeah.
connections. Yeah,
Do you have many
and
kit
very
car?
very knowledgeable, very helpful.
Yeah. Do you have many kit car forums? Yeah. I mean, I use Facebook a lot. I don't like Facebook at all. There's a lot of good groups on Facebook. On the South African Seven thing. So there's a lot of good groups out there and a lot of good advice. Some of it you have to take with a pinch of salt if you can spot when they don't know what they're talking about. But yeah, we
Yeah.
found a lot of great advice on some of the forums. How do you find it out there?
I'm on a couple of the forums, and like you say, you get people who I think just like speaking, so that they can let everybody know they have an opinion,
Yeah,
regardless
yeah.
of whether it's relevant to what's being asked.
I'm laughing because I know exactly where you're coming from, and
And yeah, so I think these forums are helpful and in
yeah,
general are good, but you always
yes,
get annoying people who have no clue, who think everybody should know what their opinion is.
yeah,
Um, I
that's
suppose it's the same with any group of
yeah,
people with a
yeah,
similar
because
interest.
I'm admin on quite a few groups, and a couple of people I know are admin on several groups, and we get what are called the negative people, where somebody will put up a car up for sale, and they will put it in negative. Oh, you shouldn't have done that like that. I don't like the colour. Those shock absorbers are wrong. And I'm thinking, if you can't see anything positive, don't bother. That car is his pride and joy that he's built. Don't go slagging it off. So yeah, I
I
don't.
know,
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, yeah.
I know exactly what you mean. Um, I can't remember if it was my dad who always says, if you don't have anything nice to say, then don't say it.
But that is exactly what my grandmother used to. Well, she used to say it. She taught us.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you've not got anything positive, she also used to say when people get into arguments as well, because there are some arguments. Well, we try and avoid arguments on all the kit car forums. Let's put it that way. But she used to say to us and taught us as well, if you don't know both sides of the story, don't express an opinion. And she's absolutely, absolutely. I live by that today. And the other one, unless you've got something positive to say, don't bother. But
Don't
yeah,
say it.
get into an argument. If you don't know both sides of the story, don't bother saying anything.
Yeah. So that's like I say, that's the same in any groups I've ever been involved with. So you're always going to get those kind of people, or the other kind of people who will ask 20 different people for advice and not follow any of it.
Yeah, and then they'll post again. My car's gone wrong, or do you know what I mean? Or I've blown my engine. What? Why is this? And you think, well, you didn't follow the advice that you've been given. I think there's a lot of
Yeah.
people that post the same questions on across several groups, and they'll disagree with themselves on on various groups on the post that they've just posted. I don't know. As I say, I'll just take these people with a pinch of salt. I know what I'm doing.
No, you need to. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right. We've been on now. I'm just having a look. We've been on for nearly 40 minutes now, 50 minutes. It's been
Goes
brilliant.
quick.
Yeah, it goes quick. Brilliant talking to you. If you can drop us some pictures of your car.
I will do. I've got a video, or I've got a link to a YouTube video that we did 2 weeks ago, a bit of a
that
feature on my car.
that'd be
Um,
good.
uh,
Yeah.
and also I've got video, or plenty video of from my GoPro on my car on a nice run we did through Somerset West over Salaries Pass to No, actually, we went to Stellenbosch over Helsworth, Franschhoek Pass, and then all the way back around past Cabot,
Because
um,
you
back on
have
the N2. It was a lovely run.
you have stunning scenery over there. It's not
Oh, we
like
do.
England.
We do.
Not like England. We've got a couple of hills up in Scotland and Wales. That's about it. But you have absolutely stunning scenery.
Oh, we do. And somewhere like Clarence Drive, which is a coast road on the southern coast, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah,
stunning. It's as good as anywhere you'll find in the world.
yeah, yeah,
And decent condition. The road's in good condition. Well, they're still busy repairing it after a storm we had a couple of years ago, but generally it's in good condition and a beautiful winding road with the most unbelievable views.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it's on our doorstep, so we're really blessed with that.
Yeah,
But yeah,
we'll
I'll send you some stuff for sure. If you give me a
definitely.
link,
Yeah,
if you just DM me a email address or a link or a Dropbox or whatever, we
yeah. I'll
can
get
figure out how to send it.
I'll get Jim to set up a Dropbox for you on the.
Yeah.
We've got this room, well, on Messenger set up. I'll message you. We'll get a Dropbox set up. Yeah, we'll get some pictures. We'll edit this down. It's been brilliant talking to you.
Yeah, and
I
you,
ha-
John.
I hate the weather out there. It looks awful.
Oh, look at the sun streaming in the window behind me. It's so bright you can't even. I mean, it's terrible.
I can't see it, mate. I can't. Sorry, I can't see it.
Not bragging, not bragging.
Been brilliant talking to you. I can't wait for the pictures and the videos. Anyway, yeah. So I won't say goodbye for the moment. All I'll be saying is be seeing you soon.